Hello everybody, and welcome back to World of Tanks. Today I'm going to be reviewing the American Tier 4 M3Lee. This is one of the weirdest and most disliked tanks in World of Tanks. In fact, it is probably the most hated tank in World of Tanks. Why? Well, let's just say it's a very odd tank. First of all, as you can see, there's this massive, strange mini turret on the top. And actually, it's a mini turret on top of a mini turret. 2 machine guns. 1 gun, sort of like this one. They have no use whatsoever. It's just a massive weak spot, easily penetrated. And literally its only purpose is to give the enemy the upper hand. Because when you come around the corner, your tank is so tall that this is spoken up over the rock or the boulder or the mound of sand that you're going behind, and they can just see you coming before you can see them and pop shots at this, which will easily be penetrated. Not only that, but look at the placement of the main gun and just the main gun, the way it's designed itself. It's the only tank in the game which has a main gun that is on the side of the tank. This tank isn't a tank destroyer, but it acts similar to one. The main gun can only rotate so far in front of the tank because it's not a turret. Which means that if somebody's on your left or your right or behind you, you have to turn the whole tank around before you can get a shot at them. And that's another reason why this tank is not very popular. Let's take a look at the stats. So, here we are. Because it technically doesn't have a turret, we only have whole armor. The front, 51. Sides and rear, 38. Its armor is crap. Why? Well, let's see. I see a flat surface. I see a flat surface. I see a flat surface and a barely sloped surface. And I see a sort of sloped surface. That's why the best armor is on the front, because that's where everything's sloped. And on the sides and rear, it's just basically flat. And that's why the armor is crap. So when you're driving this tank, you do not want to have a lot of it showing, if you can help it, because almost everything can penetrate you. Really, the only kinds of tiers that'll have trouble penetrating you are tier 1 tanks, and maybe some of the tier 2 tanks. But tier 3 and up, not that hard to penetrate you, especially if they get to your back. They might have a bit trouble at the front, but they can just go around or just point at your massive mini turret and pop shots at you before you can turn around to get one shot at them. That's another thing about this tank. With the stock gun, the 75mm M2, it literally fires 6 shots per minute. What a crappy rate of fire. The shell damage is okay. It is 120 to 200. Penetration could be better, 67 to 112. But it takes forever to aim. Does not fire a lot per minute. It's not accurate at all. And it just does not do that much damage. Now, if you keep this tank long enough, you're going to want to upgrade each of these, or at least your engine and your gun. Track is optional, but you might as well. You have to either do your gun or your engine if you want to get either the M4 or the T1 Heavy. But you definitely even if you're not going for the M4, want the better gun. And this is why. You get more firepower, more shot effectiveness. If you look at this, standard shell damage stays the same, but you get a little more penetration. Your rate of fire goes way up, so you reload faster and you can get more shots in. Your aiming time goes down. It's more accurate, and you basically, even though it's not a lot, you do more damage. So you definitely want to battle your way through tiring battle after battle after battle. Even if you lose, you want to battle your way and get this gun. As for the engine and the tracks, they don't do that much. Engine just adds 40 horsepower. Tracks just make it so you can turn a little better. That's another good thing about this tank. Like, the few good things other than the gun, it's pretty fast, and it turns pretty well. It's got a good traverse speed. That's about the only really good things. The better gun, the better tracks, and kind of the frontal armor. That's really all that's good about this tank. As well as your speed, but that's not really a big thing. Now, it's going to take some getting used to play with a gun that's on the side, and may not seem like that big of a difference, but it can make a huge difference how you play with a turret on the side. For instance, if you're coming up against a wall, let's say the wall is on your right. Well, if an enemy's waiting behind that wall, for the first few seconds your gun is blocked, and they have nice, juicy frontal armor to shoot at, which is not very good. However, the wall is to your left. They don't have this to shoot at first. They have your gun to shoot at, which will be firing back at them. So, one of the most important things about this tank is choosing which side of the map to go on and having all the cover to your left. If you have all the cover to your right, you might get lucky, but they've got lots of stuff to shoot at. If you got all the cover to your left, first of all, this is covered. Second of all, if it's tall enough, your weak spot is covered. And all they have to shoot at is this gun, one of your tracks, and this section of your tank. And that's another one of the few good things about this tank, is that it can sneak part of its body around a corner, which no tank can do as well as the M3Lee, and pop shots out, and rarely gets hurt if it's doing it correctly. So that's how you have to play this tank, because it is not a very good tank. And personally, I don't think it's terrible. I kind of like it, actually, but I will say that you probably do not want to keep this too long unless you like derping around in tanks when you get bored, because this would make an excellent tank for just screwing around, even though you'd probably die really quick, because it's okay in the sense that it's got a unique feature to it, but it's not that good. It's kind of crap. So, let's get onto some gameplay and show you how this tank works. So, here we are on the desert map, and I can't remember what it's called. Let's just say it's the desert with the railway, because my memory isn't that good. But anyway, off we go. To my surprise, there are only 2 tanks on this side of the map on my team, which is me and an M2 medium. Right away, the M2 medium, I don't know if he had to go AFK or if he just decided it would be a good idea to camp, but he moves a few feet and stops. So I'm all by myself on this side. Not a good situation for an M3Lee. To my surprise, though, nobody shows up. This part of the map is usually swarming with tanks, especially M3Lees. So I think, well, maybe there's an AFK player or two, or maybe someone who's hiding around here. And this is a very risky thing to do. I could have died easily by doing that, but I don't see anyone. And I am spotted, but I think it was an enemy tank on the other side of the railway, because the whole match there was no sign of an enemy tank on this side of the map. So, must have been someone from over there. My team's doing pretty good. They've already killed 2 enemies, and I only think a few of us died during this match. And I get spotted again. You don't want to stop for long in this tank. You want to keep moving, unless you have good cover. And then I make a mistake. I see this Hetzer, start taking shots at him. He doesn't notice me, so I think I got this in the bag. And then, boop, get shot by another tank. I finish off the Hetzer, and I realize, oh crap, it's a Matilda. He tries to ram me at full speed, just barely misses. And another mistake. I don't take cover. I try to take him one-on-one, which is a bad idea, especially with the Matilda. And I die. So, important lesson for an M3Lee. Don't fight in the open by yourself. It's not a good idea to fight in the open in the first place, but if you're going to, at least, for gosh sakes, have backup. Because your armor is crap, and if you go up against a heavily armored tank like the Matilda, you're probably going to die, because it only takes 3 to 4 shots for anybody to kill an M3Lee. They do finish him off, but once again, mistakes were made. So, this is the second map. Once again, can't remember the name, because of my memory. Match is just about to start. And I decide to go around this side. Once again, keeping all of the protection to my left. All of the hills and rocks and cover to my left to protect my weak armor, to conceal me, and so that I can poke my gun around the corner and try to take pot shots at enemies. I get rear-ended by one of my friends. Wolverine comes up this bridge, and this guy just has a bad day. I actually hit his tracks and somehow managed to do damage. Because of that, he gets annihilated. He tries to reload, but he's a goner. As far as we know, it's just a Churchill over there. But suddenly, we spot a Luke's. I decide to take shots at him, and watch this. See? Took away about a fourth, maybe a third of his health. That's why you want this gun, because it is good. And it might have a bit trouble at tier 5 or 4, but it's a good gun at low levels of tiers, and it can still do some damage. Now look at that, I bounced a shot. That's right, it is actually possible to bounce a shot in an M3Lee. How impossible it may seem, it is possible. So I see there's a T-40 over there, and I start to worry that we might get flanked. To my surprise, though, that does not happen. All of the enemy team is on this side of the map. We don't know that yet, but they are. And I take out that Luke before he can do any more damage. So now it's just this Churchill for the meantime. I go for a ram, but a leopard beats me to it. Takes him out. Guy didn't stand a chance. So I go around this side, once again, keeping all the cover to my left. Because I'm thinking of that T-40, maybe I can get around this corner and shoot him. But surprise, enemy tank. I'm worried at first, but then I see he's AFK. So, take advantage, get a shot. But then there's another tank, which is not AFK, a Ram 2. I take another shot and bounce because I didn't aim quite right. Then I decide it's probably a better idea to aim for the ram instead of the AFK, because I don't know, but if he's not AFK, isn't he more dangerous? Nonetheless, I take another shot at the AFK and destroy him, and then, oh crap, T40 and an M3Lee. Guy behind me gives me an opportunity, by lowering this guy's health, to take him out. And there's the M3Lee again. Don't aim long enough and miss his weak spot. Back up. Aim, but don't quite aim on his weak spot, and I miss. Wait for it. Come on. There we go. That's more like it. Got him right smack on the mini turret. I'm worried at first, because it's another M3Lee, most likely with the good gun like I do. So I ask for help, and then I decide, well, they're taking care of that guy, and so I guess I might as well, because this guy could take out some of our tanks. So I move forward. We exchange fire, and I see the damage I've done, and I think, I can afford to take another hit. He, on the other hand, cannot. Boom! And that's the end of that match. So, that's my second Ace Tanker badge, and surprisingly, I think both of them were earned on the M3Lee. So, it just goes to show you, with even the supposedly worst tank in the game, if you practice, learn strategies, and use them, you can have a pretty decent game almost every time and get some pretty good results. So, thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.